Today's renovation story starts all the way back in early 2020 when I decided to turn my hand to the bathroom in this London flat. As you can see from the before shots, it needs a lot of work, but I love a challenge. Now, I started this project in early 2020 and, well, we all know what happened in 2020. So needless to say, I never got to finish the project to the exact specifications I wanted. And even when lockdown ended, it never became a priority, which is why this video never made it to the small screen. But recently I took back control and I decided to finish this bathroom once and for all. So let's look back to 2020 and I'll show you what I did to start this project. The first thing I did was remove the grimy old cabinets from the wall. They were cheap and falling apart, which made the space look a lot worse. I unscrewed them really easily and I sent them to the recycling. Next on the list was to clean up the tiles. The grout had gotten really dirty over time and they just needed a refresh. I started by giving them a clean and once over, and then I went in with a grout pen to recolor the lines without needing to re-grout. This worked so much better than I expected. I highly recommend trying this if you live in a rental and you want your space to look cleaner and brighter without investing too much time and money into the space. I think this cost about £8 and it worked really well. My next project was to tackle these walls. They were patchy, they were stained, and they were a strange blue colour. So I chose this light grey paint that I found on sale at Homebase to cover it up with. I think this paint was on clearance and it was 2 years ago, so I don't know what the colour is, but I probably wouldn't recommend it as it took quite a lot of coats to get the finish right. But nevertheless, I'm so pleased I did it because the colour really refreshed and modernised the space. And it's a nice change from doing it all white because all of the bathroom furniture was white anyway. Now for the floor, and as you'll see later, this project is one that I ended up redoing, so I will keep this section short and sweet. I plan to re-grout the floor as it was old, discoloured, cracked in most areas, you know. So I did that and it did improve the overall look of the space, but I was never truly happy with the finish. But 2022 Hermione will come in later to save the day, so let's hit pause on this for now. This is what the bathroom was looking like halfway through the project. So all of the walls are now fully grey, they're no longer blue. It looks so much better. The floors have dried as well, and I'm no master grouter, but it's definitely looking a lot better than it was. And because I took those ugly cabinets off the wall, we needed some storage. This is a butcher's block, originally from IKEA, and it was in the kitchen, and I thought it'd be perfect for storing towels and other things. I can't quite believe it, but this mirror I found in a charity shop for £3, and it perfectly covers up the one that's behind. I'm gonna work on putting a shelf up here, and then I can style the rest of the space. So before the pandemic swooped in to derail my plans, I was able to get a few storage solutions and finishing touches in place in the bathroom. I put up this floating shelf, which was really handy. I added a few useless objects to it, and I installed a new shower curtain, although I did hate it, so I changed this a bit later. And did a few other things, and to be honest, this is where we were at before everything came to a complete standstill. Bathroom makeover part 2. It's been almost 2 years since I thought I'd finished this bathroom, but I'm ready to finally finish it today, and I'm going to tackle the floor because I really want to make a statement with this floor. The bathroom itself looks pretty similar to how it did when I finished the project. It's just a little bit more cluttered, and I'm currently drying my laundry over the bath. So I'm going to tackle that too. We're going to do some tidying, but the main thing I'm going to do today is the floor. And for that, I'm going to use these. These are some vinyl stick flooring tiles that I found on Etsy. As much as I tried to make the black and white tile look better, I really wasn't happy with the situation with the grout. It didn't really fix the fact that loads of these tiles were broken. So I'm gonna try these out and we will see if they work. So let's get started. Almost 2 years later and the floor is finally about to have the real glow up it deserves. I fell in love with these vinyl stick tiles months ago on Etsy and I knew I wanted to use them in the bathroom to cover up the cracked floors. I did a few calculations to find the midpoint of the room, as the instructions recommend that you work from the center outwards. You might think that this is a bit of a useless step, but it's really worth it to get the cleanest finish. Most old rooms don't have perfectly straight walls, so starting from an edge can cause problems on the other side and it can look a bit wonky. For these tiles, I just peeled off the sticker backing and I placed them adhesive side down. With the more tricky areas, I used a Stanley style knife to get the right cut, which I did on a chopping board, and then I was able to install the tile. This was actually really easy to do. It did take me about 3 to 4 hours for the whole thing. The cutting was the most tricky part, but all in all, it wasn't a complicated project at all. So if you're a beginner, I think it's a doable one. If you're looking for a really in-depth video about how to do these tiles, my good friend Mr Carrington actually did one of his own in his kitchen quite a few months ago, which helped me when I got stuck doing these tiles, so I highly recommend you go and watch it. And I've seen his kitchen tiles in person and they look so good. They've held up really, really well, and he did a very good job of explaining the best way to install it. The flooring turned out so much better than I even imagined. But now I have to focus on this, which should be a case of just tidying up and cleaning. So let's get stuck in. The next day, after I'd spent all evening the night before admiring my handiwork with the floors every time I walked past the bathroom, it was finally time to clean and style the space right. So a lot of this was cleaning that needed to be done, but there were also a few final touches, like adding a shower curtain that wasn't gloomy and grey and a little bit depressing, that made all the difference. So here's a little styling montage. I have no idea who decided to eat the shower curtain lining, but it's pretty grim. This is so much better. This shower caddy thing is really helpful, but I am going to move it to the other side so it's not the first thing that you see when you come through the door, because it does get pretty cluttered. Now, with the space finally finished, I can show you the results for my longest ever running project. Remember what the before looked like? It was really grim, and the bathroom, it just looked like an old student flat, and I really just wanted to give it a little bit more life again. So here is the after. I'm so glad it's finally finished and I can show you what I did to improve the space. It's by no means perfect, as the bathroom probably will need replacing in the future, but I hope I've managed to lengthen its lifespan for a little while longer. And yes, it might not be the most Pinterest-worthy bathroom I've ever seen, but it taught me a lot about determination and not letting perfectionism stand in the way of getting a job done. So on that note, thank you for joining me on this 2-year-long journey. I can't wait to show you what I did with the kitchen next. That was a fun project. But in the meantime, if you want, check out my Instagram. I'm posting more on there at the moment. And with that, it's time to sign out. So happy decorating, and I'll see you next time. Bye.